Simona does get out ahead of Tony Kanaan, and a little bit farther back you can see Will Power coming out. I think it is
a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit for going into the pit lane and exiting the pit lane. But the great thing for a driver, you love it when they drop off the jacks. You can put your foot on the throttle, dump the clutch, 650 horsepower, and just spin those wheels.
Let me correct that. That was Alex Tagliani coming out behind him. And Tags is listed in the 7th spot. Here comes our race leader, and it looks like he is finally going to peel off here on lap number 37.
Okay, remember the fuel sensor, the clutch, the gearbox here. 10-4.
60 miles an hour.
So when you get down here, you got to come around Powers, guys. They're set up. Come around them. Stop at the sign.
Here comes Will Power as well. Let's check in first with Jamie Little. She's got
come around this guy.
And Dario Franchini's car has been very good. They're just reminding him, take care of the gearbox. He's taking the reds off. He's putting the primary blacks on. Will Power in the 12 car. Remember, he had that wheel clip extension that was loose. He's been fighting understeer. The 12 car, Will Power, they want to help that car out a little bit with handling. He too went to blacks. Rick?
Well, Justin Wilson had come in for what was a very routine stop. No adjustments. They simply went ahead and changed the tires, went to blacks as well. Everything went very, very smoothly in that stop.
Interesting to watch on Dario Franchini's cars. You see his target machine go along right now. They took a half a turn of wing out of the front, so that means he had too much front bite, so he wants less of that, and now he'll wait to see how these tires work underneath this run. Will it stay underneath him longer? Will his lap times improve, or will his lap times possibly fall off a little bit? That will help him make a decision whether he runs with the blacks or reds for the final pit stop.
Simona Di Silvestro under attack right now from Tony Kanaan now. And we've got a local yellow in for, oh, the 83 of Charlie Kimball has had contact, and now it is a full course caution. And this looks like it may have happened coming out of 3.
Well, and wonder if he had just left the pit lane possibly on cold tires. We'll have to get a report and see if that might be the case. And since he's got Blackwell tires on, I would assume that possibly
he had just pitted on lap 38.
Yeah, so there's the experience factor coming out on cold tires underneath race conditions when you're driving in anger. And I did notice previously when before we had this yellow that Tony Kanaan was very close to Simona Di Silvestro, and that's because he has more experience of leaving the pit lane on cold tires and taking advantage of what we call the outlap.
There is your race leader, Dario Franchitti. In second place is the rookie James Jakes, but he pitted back on lap 3. All right, let's see what happened here as we go back on board with Charlie Kimball.
The tires are very cold. Yep, just understeering into the wall. Now, when the tires start to warm up, the pressures come up, they build up. You'll end up having the grip back, and he's on the black tires, not the reds. Remember, the reds are softer, so he would have been used to having a little bit more grip, not only from the heat in the tires, but also the softer compound. That is what we call a rookie mistake, and I assure you that he will remember that one for the next event.
Okay, now here's our first opportunity to talk about how the pits, once they open, will remain open. This could be a big benefit to Sebastian Saavedra. He is the one and only car 1 lap down. If he stays out, gets the wave around, he can then come all the way around, come back into the pits, get tires, fuel, and try and rejoin the group before they will not hold up the start, but he could at least get back on the lead lap.
A little different, as we explained at the opening of the show previously. Once they started to do the wave around, once the leader was behind the pace car, they would then go ahead and close the pits. Now they're leaving it open for the reason you mentioned.
Second place rookie James Jakes, he peels off, comes down pit road, and also it looks like Scott Dixon, who is running in 17th, 4 laps down. Vince?
James Jakes, the rookie, remember his car was so badly damaged they barely made it out to start this race in time. They had to start at the back of the pack. He's been able to make it all the way up into the top 5, and now he stalls the car. He stalls it. They got to get the starter out. Another maybe one of those rookie mistakes, Scott, that we've talked about throughout the course of this day.
Let you know the 4, J.R. Hildebrand. There he goes underneath your screen. There's Anna Beatrice as she has made a pit stop. The 3 of Elio Castroneves. Elio is 15 laps down, shown in 21st position. You also saw Saavedra. It looked like he came down and did not wait for the wave around. If that, we'll verify that when we come back. As there is the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg Top 5. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
ESPN's coverage of the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg on ABC. Brought to you by Honda, the engine supplier for the Izod Indycar Series. And Izod, the official apparel sponsor of the Izod Indycar Series.
All right, back here under our 5th caution at St. Petersburg with Dario Franchitti, our race leader, Will Power, Simona Di Silvestro, the top 3. We've got a moment. Let's talk about the motorsports calendar because the SummitRacing.com NHRA Nationals will qualifying next Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN2, and then the final Sunday at 4:30 Eastern, also on ESPN2. Next up for the NASCAR Nationwide Series is at Texas. That's Friday, April 8th. Week off next week, 8 o'clock Eastern, ESPN2. And the Indycars, the Grand Prix of Alabama, Sunday, April 10th, 3 Eastern, with our friends over on Versus. Okay, we mentioned the fact that there might have been the potential for the wave around. Well, of course, the wave around would only work if the leaders all pitted. They did not. So Sebastian Saavedra will not have the opportunity to get back onto the lead lap. He is 15th right now, 1 lap down. Let's take a look at our Firestone lap leaders. We've only had 2 of them, and the dominant one is the guy that's still up front.
And now he's going to have more pressure from behind than he's had all race. And the pole sitter, Will Power. No doubt Dario Franchitti knows how strong Will is. They will take a shot at this, see if he can get down to turn 1 ahead of Will Power. Will Power has been noted as the king of the streets right now. We'll see between these two who can lead lap 1.
Let's check in quickly with Vince Welch.
The restart here, Charlie Kimmel. What happened? You just come in and gotten fresh tires, and then on the out, what happened?
I just overestimated the grip. You know, it's the first time I've done a hot pit stop here in IndyCar, and tires were a lot colder. I had a lot more understeer than I was expecting. I knew I had to push to get in front of Sato and Danica. Knew where I was, sort of looking inside the top 10. You know, for my first 40 laps in an IndyCar, I was happy with how I'd run. I just, you know, made a rookie mistake. I'll learn from it, move forward from here.
Lesson learned. Well done. Marty?
All right, thanks, Vince. And as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, we can tell you Ryan Hunter-Reay, they first listed him as officially out. He is back into the race, 24 laps down, though, in 22nd position. Pace car pulls off. Dario Franchitti selects the inside again. Everybody forms up. They meet the line, and we're back to Green Flag Racing.
That was probably the nicest 2 lines of race cars we've had, whether it's the start or any restarts.
Whoa, little contact there, but everybody checks up in enough time to make it through. And was that Will Power?
Looked like the 22 of Justin Wilson. Looks like he had a problem in the middle of the turn, possibly a mix up in the gearbox or something of that nature. He just lost power and drive for a moment.
There he is, and Danica's got more damage on the wing. Oh, and more contact. James Jakes, who had come in, and he has contact. Anna Beatrice in the 24 also involved. She spins it around to get back on. That is right down in the turn 4 section of the racetrack. Still no full course caution. We're racing, but Danica's got another wing damaged. And again, it's the left front.
Yep, come in if you need. Come in if it doesn't go yellow. Come in if it doesn't go yellow.
That's Scott Dixon going around Danica. Dixon right now in 16th spot, 4 laps down.
Now through the high-speed section where she's going through right there, she's really off the pace. You're going through that at 140 miles an hour if your car is in good shape. But for her, she's going to come in, change that wing out again. We talked about having 1 spare in the pit lane. The rest will be back in the transporter.
She was 12th when this happened. And boy, look at the action up front right now because Tony Kanaan is all over Will Power.
I mentioned before, Will Power's car just not the same as it was on Friday practice or on Saturday. A lot of drivers thought that if he did not have a problem in the race that he would be gone. Not sure if they made some changes overnight or the track has changed a little bit itself as more cars run throughout the weekend. Remember, this is city streets. It starts to put rubber down. Maybe his car just doesn't perform the same with a lot of rubber on the track versus when it was really just terrible on Friday when it was all dirty and dusty.
Right side of your screen, Danica Patrick gets the new nose put on, and now that local yellow that we saw back on turn number 4, that has been withdrawn. We're back to full Green Flag Racing around this entire 14-turn, 1.8-mile circuit. Let's go back on board with Danica and see what happened this time to create her second incident of nose damage.
Down turn 1. We start getting in through the turn. Oh, that was the situation. Remember we talked about the 22, Justin Wilson having a problem, maybe just not having an opportunity to get out of the turn as quickly as usual. That's no fault of her own, but she has her new wing on the front, and she is now going to be in chase mode.
She's 38 seconds behind the brace